program, Land is Life Today. Let me take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking to our guest on the program. Keep following.
Land is life. Land is life. Land is life. Land.
Okay, so welcome back to the Land is Life program here on ELBC Radio 99.9 FM. This program is proudly sponsored by Lendisa. Lendisa is an international organization working to secure land rights for rural women and men. Our guest has joined us. He's the Assistant Director for Land Use at the Liberia Land Authority, Mr. Tom Wesley Kopo. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Daniel. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, you are loud and clear. Thank you for joining us once again on the show.
Okay.
Great. One of the first things we like to start off to give our listeners, an understanding of what we'll be talking about. Firstly, let's talk about what you do. What do you do at the Land Authority?
What do I do
At the Land Authority? Yeah.
Okay. So thank you again for having me. My name is Tom Wesley Kopo. As you said, I serve as the Assistant Director for Land Use within the department.
Okay.
So my division is responsible for the development of the land use policy. Also, land use teams helping to regulate land uses in Liberia.
Okay.
Helping to give advice on how to properly spend for your land, etc. So the capacity of communities, municipalities, city councils, etc. as it deals with land use. So that's some of what we do in my department.
Definitely. Of course, I know we cannot go through all of it, but it's good for the public to also hear from, like they say, the horse's mouth as it relates to what is happening at Land Authority. Today we're talking about wetlands, and it's an interesting conversation to have. Firstly, is it by any specific definition that we define what, a parcel of land that is considered to be wetland? And some of us are not experts, so you are, and we'd like you to firstly begin by telling us, when we say wetland in the context of land, especially when it comes to land use management, what do we mean?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So I'll answer it by giving you the formal definition and then maybe helping to break it down.
Okay.
So in Liberia, when we say wetland, we talk about land that is considered or categorized by having high diversity of plants and animals.
Okay.
We have plenty of plants and animals on it, but we also got to consider that it supports local vegetation and it provides food for many animals and plants, so fish including. So when you talk about wetland in general, you're talking about a land that has water on it, terrestrial water, vegetation, but it should also have a diversity of plants and animals. So that's what we call wetland.
Okay, so that is land with water and also have a diversity of animals, plants and animals.
Yeah.
Good.
Fish,
so,
wonderful.
Now, one of the things that has caught my attention is normally I hear people say that we should protect wetlands, and it pricks me to want to know, why should we protect wetlands? We have dry land, we have wetland. So why I don't hear people say we should protect dry land? People say we protect wetland. I mean, is there any specific reason why?
Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons, and we'll try to go through it through them.
Mm-hmm.
For one, the wetlands issue is one of the long-standing international issues out there. I think many may know about the Ramsar agreement. These agreements have to do with protection of wetlands.
Okay.
For different reasons. But let's bring it to the context of Liberia. When we talk about wetlands in Liberia, why should we protect them? Liberia has a lot of wetlands and species. Wetlands serve as an important ecosystem in our country.
Okay.
And I'm not speaking big terms, I'll break it down. services that it provides. Firstly, wetlands absorb a lot of water. A lot of times we have rain, we have floods, we have storms. The water that is there is meant to absorb the water.
All right.
So they absorb the water, and then later on, it slowly, it acts as a sponge. Then slowly let go of the water across the floodplain. That's the first ecosystem service of wetlands.
Okay.
The second purpose that wetland provides is that I think we went through the whole in biology that the plant absorb carbon dioxide and
Yeah.
give us oxygen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the wetlands that have mangroves, that have vegetation, help to clean up all the bad, you say in layman English, bad toxins in the air. They take out the carbon dioxide, give us oxygen. So mostly in cities where you have wetlands, where you have trees, where you have mangroves, you see that the atmosphere is clean.
Okay.
Okay. Another benefit of the wetland is that it has it's a home or habitat to a lot of animals. So the fish that we eat, mostly we can take from the fish from wetlands. You have turtle there, you have birds that are there, that's the natural habitat. And then going back to the idea of this whole issue of climate change, like I said, the wetland provides, it helps to warm our cities. So these are some of the benefits of the wetland. So most especially in times of rain or in times of flood, the wetland serves as a water retention site that absorbs the water and then slowly dispenses the water across the flood.
Now, I know that you may not have the full, geographical information, but in terms of, I mean, is there any data where that can speak to, like for example, like how much percentage, sorry, of the country is wetland and how much is dry land? I mean, just at the top of your head.
I will try to do that, but let me first state that the Environmental Protection Agency,
Yeah.
when it comes to wetland issues, they have the mandate. When it comes to the environment, they have the mandate for management of wetlands, protection, and administration.
Definitely. I mean, I
yes,
already made contacts. We'll have them probably next week.
yes. Okay, good. So with the land aspect, it's what I'll be speaking to. But I can easily say that Nigeria has over 50% wetlands.
50%.
Yes, over 50%. And we even go into the hinterlands in the rural areas so that we have a lot of wetlands. So that's a significant.
Should we be afraid? Should we be happy? That at least 50% of the entire country is land is wet, is considered to be wetland. Is that something that we should be happy about, or sad or concerned?
Well, for me as a technician, I think that's something to be happy about.
Okay.
In a lot of developed countries, you have people who are trying to even grow vegetation. Like now with the whole climate change issue out there, people are creating forests.
Okay.
People are planting a lot of trees. People are looking for vegetation that will help to lower the effects of climate change within the cities. So the fact that we have a lot of wetlands that provide all these ecosystem services that I talked about, especially the sequestration of carbon, cleaning the atmosphere, making the city warm for us, helping to prevent floods, I think that's something that we as Nigerians should be happy about.
Okay, so now as you rightfully stated, the Environmental Protection Agency deals with the protection of wetland and all of that, but you deal with the land aspect of it. Now,
yes, the management of the land.
The land management. So how do you coordinate wetland management, at the level of the land authority? How does that work? Is it, just give us a picture.
Well, that's a very good question, Daniel. So by right, we as government institutions have our mandate areas.
Okay.
So, like I said, the Environmental Protection Agency, when we talk about the environment, it encompasses almost everything. When we talk about the land management aspect, we have the mandate to make sure that whichever way the land is used, the Labrador Land Authority is involved. So the EPA, the Labrador Land Authority, listed and few other government institutions have almost like an interministerial or coordination platform.
Okay.
That when some of these issues arise or issues that are very, very key, we come and discuss it. Um, that being said, there's also room for improvement in terms of coordination and collaboration. We need to do a lot more in terms of working together to ensure that the wetlands in Liberia are managed properly and administered and managed properly. So we do have a working platform in terms of the management process.
Hmm. All right. This is quite, and this brings me to the next portion of our conversation. This evening, and this portion has got to do with how wetlands should be managed. But are there provisions in the existing 2018 land rights law as to the management? And this management, I mean, in terms of, can I, Daniel Ankrah, as a individual citizen, purchase wetland, or do I need to go to the land authority because it's wetland? Can a community claim, a land that is considered to be theirs simply because it's theirs, or because it's wetland, they will have to pass through other procedures? Because again, wetland, is a space for species, some of them that are very rare. So, there are a lot of technical issues associated. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, so thank you, Daniel. Firstly, let me say that wetland is a protected category according to the frameworks we have, according to the laws we have, according to the regulations that we have. Wetland is protected in Liberia. What do we mean by protected? Protected means that it's under the administration and management of government.
Okay.
Because of the significance of wetlands, that it has diversity, biodiversity, it has animals, it has plants, which it provides ecosystem services. The government, a long time ago, and according to other international agreements, otherwise that wetlands should be under protection. So this idea that people can buy wetlands, people can just fill in wetland and do whatever they want, is wrong. That's wrong. Wetland, even at the level of the Liberian land authority, wetland is a protected area. Now, in terms of the different land use categories, or even different land tenure categories, which I'm not sure if I have the time to go into, but we have, according to the land rights law of
2018.
Yes, the 2018, we have different categories. We have private land, which we all know.
Yeah, private land, public land.
Public land, government land, and customer land. Cutting across all these categories, protected areas, and you find wetland in its respective land categories. But for wetlands to be developed, for you to have a permission to develop the wetland, you should consult the Environmental Protection Agency and the Liberian Authority. Even including your municipalities, there are different tiers. So it's inappropriate, it's even illegal to just go because you got wetland in your backyard or wetland somewhere that nobody is using, to go and fill it in and try to develop it because you have a need to put human settlements or whatever. It is wrong according to our law. That is my responsibility.
Yeah. The reason I'm laughing a bit is because so if we have this a wonderful law that speaks to what we need to do when it comes to wetland, then I'm concerned about all of the swampland around here. Swampland that make it simple. Swampland are wetland too, right?
Swampland is wetland. Anything that wet, I got water inside of wetland.
So now I see that people will willfully and willingly own unto themselves wetland because go ahead. I mean, I don't know how you speak to that.
The issue even in developed countries, people can develop wetland. You see some other countries where they build up on the wetland, they have so the idea is we the citizens, we are not technicians.
Yeah.
We don't really know the benefit of this wetland, right?
Agreed.
So you have to come to the statutory institutions that have whether spatial data, the technical knowledge on the actual benefit of that wetland. If that wetland got some species there that nobody knows of in the world, if that wetland has medicinal properties, they got medicine there, whether that wetland is a long contiguous area that happens to retain water or to drink flood, you don't know the purpose of particular wetland. So you, as a citizen, should consult with the municipality, should consult with the EPA, should consult with the Nigerian authorities to see if that wetland is permitted to be developed. Because certain wetlands around here that don't have any major biodiversity, right? They ain't got plenty animals, they ain't got plenty fish there. You can develop it. But you as a citizen of Liberia, you do not have the authority to go and fill in a wetland and develop it. That is wrong. That's why you see EPA in collaboration with the Liberian authority sometimes go out there with people filling in wetlands. And
Yeah, I mean,
of the population density.
I don't feel like I need to be shocked that you're saying this, but I am. That you cannot, as an individual citizen, because you got money to, get a few loads of, dirt to just throw in the wetland because you want to build, and you go and do that. Now,
it is illegal.
It is illegal.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about the B to that part that has got to do with those who are actually selling the wetlands to other people. and they're, because if it's illegal to do it by yourself, then it should be more than illegal to sell it to somebody else. Am I correct?
It is. It is. So, most of the problems that you see around here in Liberia it's a symptom of the larger problem.
Definitely.
Yes. As well as say. So, if you see somebody selling wetlands, that means that either the policy or the regulation is not being enforced. Okay? Even our city councils, you got PCC, you got MCC. Our city ordinances, they know that wetland should not be sold. Wetland should not be sold. If you need to have access to wetland, if a government institution administer a wetland, it should go through certain regulations and guidelines. So, it's like I would say again, it's illegal. So the reason you see this is because you don't have enforcement power. Yeah. You don't have the resources as government. Sometimes there's interference, but I'll come back again and say that it is absolutely wrong. Like it's a symptom of a larger problem. Sometimes, like just recently, and start to jump here around.
Go ahead.
We passed a national land use and management policy for the first time. A comprehensive policy that will guide you on how to use land, like agricultural land, forestry land, that mining area. It guides you on how to use land. So prior to that, we never had a constructive policy on how to use land. There were no regulations. Currently, most of our ordinances are outdated. You go to MCC and PCC, elements of the ordinance that should be reinforced or that should capture issues of natural resource management is not evident. So it's a symptom of a larger problem in terms of enforcement, in terms of law awareness and education.
Wonderful. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is a reminder that you're listening to the Land is Life program. It's live on ELBC Radio 99.9 FM. It's also live on the Liberia National Television Facebook page. And our guest today is Mr. Tom Wesley Kopwa. He is the Assistant Director, Land Use Management at the Liberia Land Authority. And he's taking some time out today to discuss this issue of wetland, specifically to the land aspect of it, because again, the EPA has got their own side when it comes to protection and the environmental side of it. So, Mr. Wesley, remain on the line. I have the chairman of the authority, Chairman Adam Maniba, joining me now on the other line. So just remain on the line. You hear him loud and clear. Chairman, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and hats off to Tom, who is with you today. I'm delighted of the information he's providing. Quickly, with respect to wetland, I just want to make a little import.
Okay.
Rightly, as you said, wetland, where the management of wetland or protection of wetland has to be with the land authorities, the Environment Protection Agency, and to a certain extent, depending on the size of the wetland, even the FDA for protected area. But lastly, the wetland, most likely you are referring to, has to be wetland within the communities.
Yeah.
And as Tom said, Mr. Kopo says, wetland can be used even if we look at the environmental protection law or the the regulation, section 74, if I'm not mistaken, provides the condition under which wetland can be used. The uses of the land has to do, first of all, whether it can be used. The next one is whether it can be owned. So that means the land authority that gave the ownership of land to individual or institution, we cannot give ownership of wetland to anyone unless the EPA can determine that it has to be used and as per specification approved by the EPA. Of course, wetland can be used, or it has to be used with direction and control from the EPA. Then the land authority can transfer title. These are some of the conditions on which land or wetland can be used under our laws.
Now, Mr. Chairman, before you go, Mr. Copper, just hold on a sec. Chairman, before you go, one thing he mentioned, and I didn't want to go too further because I mean you are more in the position of authority than him, is to the enforcement aspect of this, because he spoke about some of these things that limited resources to carry out enforcement. Because again, if people are literally and illegally misusing land, that could have a ripple effect. Today we have flooding all over the city sometimes, and it's because of the misuse of wetland areas that are supposed to absorb the water when it actually rains.
Yes, you are right. In as much as we have the law, we have the regulation, but these are not automatic. There has to be the resources, the funding, or the budgetary allocation for us to implement or enforce this law. We have partners who are helping us, but they have their areas of interest that they go to. Like, say, for example, protected area. Wetland in the communities, they are not so large to the extent that it does not create the attention of the international community. But besides that, the local authorities, municipalities. Now, and this is why the law calls for the decentralization of some of these functions. But even the local authorities themselves don't have the resources. Of course, we need to do a joint intercourse and more awareness, communication, and education, even training, capacity building of the local authority to know they are in the community, to know that they have responsibility to help the land authority, to help the EPA to protect this area. But sometimes they themselves don't have the resources, and we have not yet come to actually make the area functional to the extent that we know that we are all partnered in the same boat and we have to work together. So at times, some of the local authorities will not know that way, but luckily the land authority and the EPA, we are working together along with the FDA to handle some of these issues. For limited resources, yes, I agree with Mr. Copper. Some of the issues that we have.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much for joining us. All right. Okay, so we continue the conversation with Mr. Tom Wesley Copper. He's the Assistant Director of Land Use Management at the Liberia Land Authority. Tom, anything to add to what the Chairman said before we proceed?
No, I think the Chairman said it well. Wetland has to be administered at different tiers. You have the municipalities that have the responsibilities, you have EPA, and you have the land authority, as well as the FDA, depending on the size of the wetland. From our department, we are keen on looking at the specific use of the wetland. Even in wetland, they have diverse uses. So in terms of the main component of the natural land, the land use component, that's where.
So one of the things I'm concerned about when it comes to land use in the context of wetland is people in Liberia see wetland as a space to throw garbage, feces, dirt, sometimes even medical waste. Some of these things are disposed of in wetland, and this is specifically towards land use. Except I'm wrong, and you can please let me know. But how bad is this situation? Because we tend to see dry land as that land that we can use for good things, and wetland we use it for dirt, garbage, etc.
Then I don't think I need to tell you how bad this is. Even in our front views, see wetlands, turning into a dump site, especially the areas of significant biodiversity. But um, and the bad part about this is that once that area is damaged, or once that area is polluted, now you need to start to talk about restoration, you know, and conversion, and restoring that area to its maybe to its formal
Status.
formal state. So it's a serious problem because for example, if you pollute the wetland and you have garbage there, plastics are not don't dispose easily. You're in essence polluting the land, and that is
Definitely.
directly land degradation. You're degrading the land. The value that land is supposed to have, it loses its value. They have it. The citizens around, the inhabitants around there, of course, you also providing harm to them because the land is polluted. So it's a very serious situation that we see for long.
Would you put a huge percentage of the level of flooding that we experience, giving our, topography, giving our, situation and our position on the map and all of that, plus our misuse of wetland? Would you say from an expert position that this could be reason why we most communities that have wetland as a part of it experience consistent and periodic flooding year in year out?
That is the reason, Daniel. If you look around us, you see in most areas, most wetlands that people are building, those formal settlements, uncontrolled issues of planning. People just fill it in. They don't have any technical know-how. There's no drainage areas. Even the soil is not even suitable for building. You will see that that area will get flooded because first of all, you're damaging the integrity of the land, the wetland. The purpose and the benefit of that land that will help you to absorb the water and to slowly extend it over time across the when you build in that area, you put brick and mortar there, not put cement there. So we expect the water to go. The water will not be absorbed into our soil. So as a result, you have flooding. You will have flooding, and this is where the municipalities come in because by right, look at our municipalities, all our municipalities have a natural resource plan and a land use plan. The land use plan, a component of it will help you to inform where you should build, where you should not build, how you should build, etc., etc. So, and like I said, it's a
Symptom of a larger problem.
The problem we have.
Wow. Well, let's I still got more questions, but let's invite some callers. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the program Land is Live on ELBC, and it's also on the LNTV Liberia Live page. You can follow Facebook page. You can follow and also participate. The numbers to call on the program today, 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096, or 0770-382262, 0770-382262, or 0880-514-096. We're talking about wetland and, some of the reasons why we experience flooding, and sometimes we pretend not to know how, a community got flooded when all of us or are throwing our garbage and dirt, in the swamp or in a wetland, and we, for some reason don't expect it to absorb all of that dirt and later on come back to haunt us, and then we think that it's is the god of the rain that is making us to or getting our homes flooded. All right, Mr. Corporal, one of the things I'm concerned about is how do we fix this? Is nothing is not fixable, but sometimes some things can go at a certain level where it becomes too difficult to handle or to manage. From the land use perspective, what do we do in the short to long term? What do we do? What do we do in the short to long term in terms of how we educate our people, how we do our best to source funding to be able to raise awareness and enforce, so that it serves as a deterrent to others who may be, in a habit or attempting to want to misuse a wetland?
Okay, so Daniel, thank you for the question. We've tried to do this before. I believe in 2016 we had a presidential task force underneath the former president Elgin.
Mm.
There was a presidential task force against encroachment on the wetlands, waterways, beachfront. And I believe the sole purpose of that task force was to go out, do assessment, first of all, get a first-hand understanding of the damage
Okay.
and the dire nature of the situation, and then come back to the table and see, come up with a clear strategy to see how best we can deal with this issue. Unfortunately, we did some work. We really did some assessments. We came up with evidence-based information, etc. But then when it came time to actual enforcement and putting in place safeguards, etc., we ran out of resources. So the first thing we have to do is provide awareness, like we're doing now.
Sure.
And you'll be surprised. A lot of people out there, like you said, think wetlands are just public land. They just supposed to just throw that in. Yeah, they just say, oh, Marina area, or you go wash your car there.
Yeah.
Or you just go mine, or whatever. And no, wetlands are very, very important. And like I said before, it's illegal to take upon your own nature to go into the upper wetland. So the first thing we need to do is to provide awareness. The second thing we need to do is to come back to the drawing table to have evidence-based information on the nature, the state of the environment right now, as it pertains to this issue of wetlands. And then we start to target it in areas that we can reclaim and we can restore. We start to do that. But we need to stop the degradation of wetlands, stop the pollution of wetlands, stop the uncontrolled, the informal use of wetlands, stop the building in wetlands because everybody coming to Moravia and the population density, everybody can cause so somebody can jump in the middle of the sun and fill it in and put a house there. Because long term you're causing more damage to yourself and the environment.
Definitely.
So we need to have a strategy. Short term, like I said, we need education, we need some evidence-based information. Perhaps medium term, we need to look for resources. And really and truly, we also need the political will. Because everything in Liberia will do is somehow championed from the office.
Boils down to that.
President. Yes. So we need, of course, we have the institutional will. We also need the political will to make this happen. And we're taking it for granted. I know, like I said, but if we continue down this road, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're finish cutting down all the mangroves and building in there. You already realize that during dry seasons, our cities can be very, very hot. You walk around, you barely see trees.
No breeze.
The purpose of the mangroves, like I said, no breeze. The mangroves, like I said, is to clean all the toxins from the air and to warm your cities. So if you cut down the mangroves, what happens? You have a lot of impact of climate change. You have this continued issue of flooding, etc., etc. So we need to come up with a strategic plan for our belief in the short term to provide education, reconstitute a task force, and provide some level of resource that can really, really target this issue of development in wetlands, wetland pollution, informal planning, etc. And then also make sure that our municipalities, our local authorities have the capacity to perform their mandates. So it's a lot of moving parts, but
again, it's a lot of actively moving parts.
yeah.
But again, quick question. Then do you have, I mean, as per what your TUR entails, do you collect regular data as to the use of the land, where we are, and does that data, if you do, cut across the entire country? Because again, sometimes our efforts due to lack of resources can be Monrovia centric.
I was about to put my technical hat on, but I think I will leave it. So we do collect data.
Okay.
In our department, I believe sometime in 2017 we constituted this issue of land development permits.
Okay.
Right, wherein if you're developing in environmentally sensitive areas, if you're developing wetlands, etc., you should come to the Liberia Land Authority for permits.
Mm.
But we under my leadership, I put up to it because we needed more collaboration with the EPA.
With the EPA,
Yes, everything in Liberia we do is also legal. You have to go in accordance to the legal framework, etc.
sure.
And so we needed more collaboration. We needed a tender. We needed some things to be put in place to make sure that what we were doing was good and everything was legal. But in terms of tackling this whole issue of wetlands, we need to have resources. Then we need to have resources to be able to tackle this problem. So we need spatial data. For example, like you asked just now, if we have information. We have information, but it's sectoral.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you go to the Liberia Land Authority and ask for information on wetlands, you get some information. You go to the EPA, you get some. You ask for information on wetlands, you get some information. If you go to the FDA, ask for information on wetlands, you get some information. So we need a national spatial data infrastructure that will pull all this information together. That where that cut across institutions that we have some different platforms to input data and extract information. So that's the technical aspect I didn't want to go into, but we do have spatial information, and as the citizens come to us, we have a database that we collect. We use to capture spatial data, coordinate attribute data.
Does the land rights law provide penalties or actions to be taken against people who could be found wanting of misusing wetland? Is there any provision there, or does that lie with the EPA?
Yeah, so the land rights law is not prescriptive on. That's not, like I said from the beginning. The EPA has more regulations and guidelines that comes with that has to do with the management, protection, management, administration of wetlands. From our side, we really have positions. Can be corrected because I know my chairman. But we're gonna have provisions that has to do with protection.
Mm-hmm.
Any policy you have, any law has needs to have subsequent regulations and guidelines.
Definitely.
And most of the mandate that has to do with the management, some aspects of the management of wetland protection heavily lies within the mandate
of the EPA. Okay. All right. So we're shortly getting to the to the conclusion of the program, but two more very key things that we have to touch on before we wrap up today's program. And trust me, this is actually a very healthy conversation that we are having here. It seems that the chairman wants to reconnect. Okay, if he calls in, I'll definitely take him. But this is a very healthy conversation, and one of the reasons why is because we as Liberians, we tend to complain a lot, but sometimes we don't realize that we are contributing to the problem, especially when it comes to flooding, when we illegally build in wetland and we expect magically during the rainy season the water should find a place to go. But let me rejoin the chairman. Chairman, welcome back. Just lower your radio volume a bit for me. That I can do. All right, go ahead.
Oh, thank you again, Daniel. As Mr. Koko said, our law is a framework law that is not very prescriptive as to what we do, what punishment we levy. Notwithstanding, the law provides that we formulate regulation for the implementation of the act.
Okay.
So it is within the authority to formulate regulation, to create regulation, to develop regulation as to the implementation of the act that gave us the power that we can even levy any fine. Notwithstanding, that has to be done in collaboration with line agencies like the EPA, and the FDA.
Okay.
Yes, the law gave us the authority. It's not clearly stated as to what to be done, what the penalties are, But because the law gives the land authority the responsibility to formulate regulation as to the implementation of the act, that means we also have the authority to create penalties and fines of any act that violated of the law. Thank you. I just want to make that short contribution.
Okay, Chairman. Thank you for your the contribution. Okay, so Mr. Kokwe, as we are shortly wrapping up, what are some of the key things you think we need to do? You've spoken a lot about the strategy. You've spoken a lot about the concerted effort. But this time around, I want you to, since we also use this program as a means of raising direct awareness with people who listen to the program, I'd like you to use the time to speak directly to Liberians. Aside from all of the technical or all the technicalities associated with the work you do, but why is it harmful for us to continue to, degrade wetland?
Yes, Daniel, thank you again. So, like I said, this issue of wetland management is very, very key. Like I stated from the beginning, like you rightly stated, we have a lot of wetland in Liberia. And I think because we have a lot of wetland in Liberia, our citizens take it for granted that they can just dump there because the land empty. They can dump there, they can fill it in, they can go build there, and not for nobody knows. Wetlands provide a lot of value to our society. In a lot of countries out there, developed countries out there, like I said, people are looking for the mangroves that we have here, the vegetation that we have here, the kind of animals, species that we have in our wetlands. They're looking for it. So if we as citizens sit down and say, because we got plenty of air, we pollute it, we'll dump dirt there, we'll cut it down, we'll use it for sand mining, etc., we'll build our homes there, then we're causing damage to ourselves in the short term and in the long term. We're polluting the land, we're degrading the land, we're causing additional pollutants to be in our atmosphere. But long term, we'll have severe impacts of climate change. Because our cities will get hotter, we'll have no mangroves, we'll have no vegetation that will be able to capture, sequestrate the carbon out. That's the first thing. The second thing we realize is that most of our roads will be flooded.
Yeah.
Most of our roads will be flooded because along our front view or along our main roads, we have a lot of wetlands. If you fill in most of these wetlands, where do you expect the water will go? The water will come on the road, and I think you also see that this happens in a lot of our
of course.
Yeah, on a lot of our roads we have, and we wonder what's happening during the rainy season that the roads that you pass on it, you can see the water because it's because we are not protecting the environment. We're filling in the wetlands, we're dumping waste there. There's nowhere for the water to go. The functions and the value that the wetland is supposed to add to us citizens by absorbing the water, by gradually releasing the water across the floodplain, by providing additional services, ecosystem services to the citizens, they won't be able to do it because we feel that we need homes, we need somewhere to stay, so we build in the wetlands. We're polluting and we're damaging our environment. And as a planner, these things over time, you see the effects over time.
Yeah.
Once you put a building somewhere, you can't take it from there.
Of
right?
course.
Once you put brick and mortar somewhere, after you demolish it, of course you can take it from there, but you can't take it from there easily. If you put a store somewhere, a story building in a wetland, you cannot take that story building from there easily. So that means that all the biodiversity in that area, all the water in that area will have to be destroyed, and that water will have to find somewhere else to go. So imagine if we continue down this trajectory for even 5 years, we'll be going back, we'll be degrading our environment, we'll be polluting our environment, even ourselves, our livelihood will be damaged because the quality of life that we're supposed to have, we won't have it. The air we'll be breathing that's good, we won't have it. So directly speaking to the citizens, I know it's difficult because we need to think about the short-term needs. We need to think about, I have to day in my backyard, I don't want to do it. So let me just go someday in the wetland over there. No, you're putting plastics over there, you're putting chemicals in that wetland, you're polluting the wetland over time. And it's going to cause significant harm to you. Some of us even live in areas that right in our backyard with our species there. And
of course.
It's affecting us. Yes. The wetland is polluted. So these are some of my advice would be that we take the time uh, as, as statutory authorities, EPA, FCA, LSA, district, whoever, maybe even the municipalities and partners, to have sustained engagement around the protection of the environment, most importantly in the wetlands, around the benefits of protecting the wetlands and grass.
Thank you.
Providing alternatives to the use of the wetland. So yeah, I see that you want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
definitely wrap it up.
No, but I really do appreciate you, and in time to come, we'll continue to plan different, shows where we, touch on it from different angles. But thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Lenny.
All right, so that's how we say many thanks to Mr. Tom Wesley Kokpo. He's the Assistant Director for Land Use Management at the Liberia Land Authority. He's taking some time out to talk about wetland and flooding and land use, and it's been a very important conversation. Well, if you didn't start it, you can definitely catch the repeat on Saturday 5 to 6 p.m. on this very station, 99.9 FM. The program is proudly sponsored by Lendesa. It's an international organization working to secure land rights for rural women and men. Until we catch you next time, I've been your host, Daniel Ankrah. Do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.